Hello everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm an AI developer, and today we're gonna talk about something very important, which is function calling. Now, everybody's talking about AI agents, they're important, they're trending, and yeah, in fact, you need to understand AI agents. However, you need to have strong foundations on different LLM functionalities, and function calling is one of those. So, what is function calling and why is so important to understand it? Function calling basically enables your model, your LLM. In this video, we'll be talking about the Assistance API of OpenAI, but you can implement the same functionality with any other open source model. But the code that I'm gonna show you in a few minutes is using the Assistance API and Python. So function calling basically enables your AI to answer questions that they don't really know the answer. Okay, so that is the baseline in simple words. So if the AI doesn't know the answer, it will call a function within your program to figure it out, and after running this function, it will return a value, and this value will be read by the AI and it will answer accordingly. Okay, so in simple words, that's how it works. Okay, but now under the hood are happening a lot of things are happening. So pretty much with your Assistance API, you are the status of the request will be paused by requiring an action. We're gonna see everything right here right now. So I want you to take a look at this real quick. And this is the dashboard of the Assistance. Okay, so I just created a WordPress scanner because this program, what it does is, after asking for a certain domain to the system that we created, it will first verify if this website is running WordPress. And if it's running WordPress, it will tell us what is the version. And based on the version, we're gonna see in the vulnerability database of WordPress if there's any vulnerability associated with this version. Okay, so this is what it does. This is something that you can definitely not, that is not possible to do with GPT, or if you go straight to the model. You need to create this tool and give access to the model to this tool. So I want you to take a look at this part of the code. So in this part, we're creating the system. We're giving the instructions, we're specifying the model, and we're giving it a name. Okay, but in this part right here, we're defining the schema that is gonna be used to communicate with our internal tool, right? Because there's a simple way to see this. You're basically bridging a communication between your AI, your model, and your internal tools by an API, which is basically a JSON format, sending them to each other. Okay, so description, it runs a WordPress scan on the specified domain after figuring out its version. Okay, this is what the function does. And it requires a specific parameter. The parameter is the URL. So it means that we cannot run this function if we don't know the URL, as we can see right here, because this function is defined in the program right here in WP scan. So what it does in simple words is you send a GET request to the website, and you script the data using the HTML. So by using the HTML, you can find the meta tag, and usually the meta tag has the WordPress version. So you take that version, and using the WP Scan API right here, doesn't matter, it's the free plan, so nothing's gonna happen if you use this key, and I'm gonna change it anyway. So you can use it. You will send the version to this API, and they have the vulnerability database, so it tells us if this version is vulnerable to any exploit. Okay, so if we go right here and we run the tool, we're gonna see what is the actual functionality. Okay, so after running it, it will be created a simple chat interface in the command line. So we're gonna ask about we're gonna ask for what is the version of nesa.gov, the website, because I know they run a WordPress, but I don't know what is the actual version. Okay, so what is the version of nesa.gov? Okay, so it will tell me that it requires an action. And then now when the run status is it requires an action, it will find the function that is needed to answer this question. So in this case, the version of nesa.gov WordPress website is 6.44, and this version was released on April 9, 2024. It's outdated, but it has no vulnerabilities. And we can verify this by going to the nesa.gov website and first seeing if it's running WordPress. So we're using the Wapalizer. And in fact, yeah, it's running WordPress 6.44, okay? So what I want to prove right here is that you're enabling your model to access internal tools that you created, things that usually cannot do. And here's when it really realized it opens up a really incredible possibilities for you and for your clients, because you can create custom actions such as, taking a look at your customer database and giving you updates and sending them to your Google Sheets, right? Because you can create this function with external APIs of different applications. So you're empowering your model with your internal tools, and you're just limited by your imagination. So the takeaway right here is this: if you don't know, if your AI needs to perform a specific action and by default is not able to do it, you can create this tool and enabling reaching the output of the tool and use it as an argument for your LLM to answer the user question. So function calling is very important. Once you understand function calling, it makes more sense if you want to implement AI agents in a solution, because AI agents is good, but it's not cost effective, especially if you're using the Assistants API. And sometimes an assistant can do a lot of things. I think that you can create up to 25 function calls. So it's quite a lot. So your assistant is very powerful, and you don't really need to have multiple AI agents if it's not necessarily. Okay, at least not in this context. In a lot of businesses, they just need a one assistant with really good prompt and access to really good tools in order to perform the specific task. So learn function calling. I think this video is really helpful because you'll see how pretty much it works. And the other thing that I just want to show you before you leave is this part right here, because when you're using the Assistants API, you have to run it. Okay, you create a thread and then you have to run it. So after running the thread, which is including the user message to the thread, you have to run it. And after running the thread, you have multiple statuses. So the status could be completed, which is when your LLM answers your user questions, or you can have another status, which is required actions, which is what we saw right here. You see, it requires action, and this means that when the run status requires action, here's when it runs the actual tool that we created in our program. So this is pretty much the workflow. I'm gonna make another video delving into the Assistants API, how to create it, what are threads, what are runs, what are all this kind of stuff that is important to understand in order to create these assistants, these powerful assistants. So thank you so much for your time, and if you have any other question, just leave a comment down below, and then we're gonna take a look at it and answer your question.